Hey everyone! Thanks for coming back to the end. We read chapters 48 to 75, or AKA the end. Just a reminder to everyone that we did read Tower of Dawn before Empire Storms, but we will not be discussing Tower of Dawn during this episode.
Until
Right,
the end.
Brooke?
We're
Until the end? Yeah.
We're discussing it at the end, but we'll warn you so that if you haven't read Tower of Dawn, you can skip out.
Yes. Thank you. All right. Obviously a lot of feelings, a lot of a lot of emotions. Who wants to go first?
Okay, so I'm not as emotional, but I do want to start by giving a shout out for Aelin for how on point every single one of her plans was, where she like told every single one of her allies to show up at this direct spot on this day. And like it didn't go as planned, but like she knew there was a chance she was gonna be taken, and then still had like a full backup plan just in case. Like I don't know. I was just in awe. Like I didn't see all of that. Like I knew the allies were coming, but I just didn't see how the plan was gonna unfold.
Brooke, what do you think?
My head is still reeling. I mean, to be fair, I finished reading probably like 30 minutes ago, so I haven't had a whole lot of time to process. But yeah, I mean, like what Elena said, I think this was the first time where like all of Aylin's like behind the scenes scheming, for the first time I was like truly blown away. And this was the first time I was upset with her. And I've always judged like Adian and Rowan and whoever else for like getting kind of mad at her. This was the first time that I was also mad. Just like there's so many emotions.
I feel like it was so impressive that she figured out that she was gonna have to die in order to make the lock so early. Because I know I texted and I was like, "What does this mean? What does like if the price is nameless mean? Why is she freaking out? Like, should I like?" Because like usually I feel like we're like on the lookout for things that like link to other things and trying to understand what's happening. And like I feel like Sarah usually leaves like a lot of little clues. I was like, "Where am I just forgetting what this is supposed to be making a reference to?" Like, but no, it was.
I mean, there were the little
Yeah.
breadcrumbs, and it all makes sense when
Mm-hmm.
it comes together. But I
Mm-hmm.
also like totally blindsided, had no idea, and just like having all of that just dumped on you. I was like, my brain, I'm dying. Like this is a
He
lot.
made Rowan the king.
There's so much. There's so much.
Yeah, I think that's how I felt when I read it for the first time. There was just so much to unpack the last 20%. Sorry, I'm on an ebook, so I don't know how many pages that is. But reading it for the second time made me more aware of what Aelin knew. And kind of made me also appreciate how she was planning it all. Because and I feel like it's very up to par with her character to be self-sacrificing and not telling anyone what her plan was except for Lysandra.
BFFs till the end.
BFFs to the end.
There's no.
Also, Aiden was super mad about like the whole plan where Sandra was going to pretend to be Aelin, but I don't for a second think she would have kept it a secret. Like if this like all actually how Aelin planned, like I don't see a world in which Aiden didn't at some point figure out that Lysandra was Aelin. Like, and Lysandra just disappears.
Why can't Lysandra and Aelin be in the same room together?
Like, and like they never would have convinced him to hook up with his cousin, like with her pretending to be like it was that part of the plan just would never have flown.
Yeah,
I was kind of mad that he was. I was kind of mad that he was mad. I'm like, why are you mad? Don't be mad. But Brooke is mad. Why are you Brooke? Why are you mad, Brooke?
I think I felt like, because you understand it from Aylin's perspective, right? She is trying so hard to save everyone except for herself. And in doing everything that she's doing, she is like trying to save the world for like Rowan and Adian. But I was just especially hurt for the both of them, when we found out about Lysandra and Aylin's plan for Lysandra to basically take over Aylin and be her. And I also agree that I don't think that there would have been a single moment where, like, if and when Lysandra needed to become Aylin. I mean, she kind of already has, but like, if their plan had worked out the way that they originally thought and Lysandra had taken over as Aylin, like, I don't think she would have ever for a second, like, tried to
Mm-mm.
lead on either Rowan or Adian as Aylin. I think she would have been honest with them. But it's just like, for these two guys to love these women, and like especially for Adian, who loves both of them in very different ways, like just to think that behind closed doors they've been planning for this whole time, and like kind of ruining both Adian and Rowan's hopes for the future with the people that they love. It just like, I don't know, my heart just like imploded a little bit for both of them.
Yeah, but it's like Aylin knew that she wasn't going to make it. She would still try to sacrifice herself. And I feel like if she had involved the guys, they would have done everything to stop her or prevent her from doing
Hmm.
it. And so that I
Yeah.
think that's why she didn't tell them.
Yeah, there's also a part of me that doesn't believe that this series ends with her dying. Like, I don't know how we get out of it. I also don't think that the series ends with Dorian dying. There's still a large part of me that's worried that one of them is still going to need to sacrifice themselves in order to like refresh the lock and get the gods and Erewhon out of the world. But um I think that I wish that Aylin had thought more creatively about things. Like I understand, thinking like, okay, this is probably really likely, but also maybe I could see if there's another way instead of just like blindly accepting it and going forth. Like for how smart she is and how creative she is at coming up with solutions, I kind of wish that she had thought through it a little more.
I feel like there wasn't any other choice because if it's not her, it's gonna be someone else down in the future because that's the whole point of like why she was in this position in the first place.
Yeah.
Um,
I like we think, but that's
yeah,
what I'm hoping that the last book is going to be. And, even though we've
maybe,
read
yeah.
Talricon, I think that we can just like skip to what we think will happen next in the plot without talking about that. And
Hmm.
I think that, that's sort of what we as the readers, I think, are all hoping. And that's what like the whole Avengers squad is hoping too, right? Like they're all hoping that they can find a way around it. Like even, as Manon like hands the word keys to Dorian and kind of reminds him that he's another option, she still says like, I'm not going to let him die. And they're all talking about it very much in like we're going to figure out a way around this. And I just wish that Aylin had also tried to just like, even just for 10 minutes, be like, okay, maybe it doesn't have to be this way. And I'm hoping that's what we're going to try to figure out is how could it not be this way?
Then it
To
would be
be
entertaining. I'm just
she's
kidding.
she's only had like 2 weeks where she figured out what she had to do. So like she put this
Yeah,
plan
there
into
wasn't
place
a lot
and
of time.
There's a lot of planning that went into assuming she's going to die, though. I mean, like marrying Rowan and having Lysandra be ready to like take over her whole persona, even down to like hey, you're probably gonna have to have sex with Adian and like bear his offspring and pretend they're mine. Like just like the amount of, and like I know that she had the best intentions, but like using them, even using Lysandra, like forcing her to make that decision and say yes to that. It's just like, oh my God, it hurts so bad.
I don't
I
think she
think
would have
like the
forced her.
mirror.
No, I know, but it's like even just putting Lysandra in the position where Aelin had to be like, you are the only way this works, and I need you to basically give up your whole future and be me for the rest of your life. Like,
Lysandra seems okay with it.
right, because she loves Aelin and she like owes her a lot, and Lysandra's a great person, but at the same time, I'm sure it wasn't like, oh yeah, sure, sounds great.
Yeah. I was just telling Elena the other day that like I still can't believe this is the same Lysandra that we met in the Assassin's Blade.
Right, yeah.
Like
Just
it still like
one
blows my mind.
I was gonna say one more warning. If you haven't read Assassin's Blade, like if you thought you could save it until the end, if you think you're gonna skip it, first of all, I don't know how you understood half of what we just read in this book. If you haven't read Assassin's Blade, go back and read it, but we are going to spoil that book in this.
Oh, talking about
Yeah.
Assassin's Blade, I didn't see Sam on that beach, Brooke.
Yeah, when I read Empire of Storms for the first time, this is when I didn't read the Assassin's Blade. So when all of these characters came up at the beach, I was like, who's Ansel?
These guys.
Who Galen? Where'd you come from, my dude? Like,
Who's
where were
Galen?
you? Where were you in Air of Fire? And then Ilias, I was like, what?
Was Galen in?
He was mentioned
The Assassin's
briefly, like when Aelin was on top of like the roof or whatever, and she was scoping out. She saw Galen from afar on a horseback or something. It was like, oh, these people like him. He seems nice. I don't want to kill him.
Yeah, Galen, I don't think is mentioned in Assassin's Blade specifically, but
no, but he was just like one of the characters that like came back.
Yeah, well, like the whole end of this book was basically like the Assassin's Blade reunion, and I just remember thinking like when they all come down the dune and Ansel's like waiting there for them, and then Aelin's like, I saved your life, like you better have come, and I'm just like, can you even imagine reading this having not read Assassin's Blade? Like all these random strangers keep popping up.
The tension between Ansel and Ilias, because remember, she killed almost tried to kill him and his dad.
Yeah.
Isn't she the reason his dad is dead?
His dad is not dead, I don't think.
His dad's not dead? I thought for some reason his dad died. Maybe not.
Unclear. He did not die in Assassin's Blade.
Oh, but then why wouldn't he be here?
He gave all the money to Aelin to go back to Erebin and buy her freedom. He wasn't dead in Assassin's Blade, so unless he has like since perished over the past couple of years and Ilias has taken over.
Or Ilias is the only one that can travel, and his dad had to stay back and lead the assassins there.
I'm guessing we'll find out in Kingdom of Ash, but
yeah. So I did not read Kingdom of Ash. I have no idea what's going on. I don't think either Aelin or Dorian will die. Even if they do, they come back. Because that seems to be like a common theme sometimes.
I feel like there's two options, right? Well, technically three options. Dorian dies. Like, Dorian just straight up dies, and then somehow Manon dies in the thing, which in the battle, which I think is a legitimate option because Manon is immortal and Dorian isn't. So like them being together long term seems difficult. So it's either that or she gives up her immortality to be with him. Option number two, Aelin dies, but it's just her immortal life that dies. So then she becomes immortal, and then Rowan gives up his immortality to be with her. That one seems the most likely to me.
And that happened though? That's really interesting. But
because they made one comment about like she would have to give up her immortal life in order to make that's what the exact phrasing. And I was like,
you did.
Yeah. And then option number three is somehow they get around it with no one dying. But I think most likely is Aelin giving up her immortal life.
Good theory.
3.
What?
I liked option 3.
Well, what do you think is the most likely?
So over the last like 40 minutes that I've been trying to think about it, the only like real way that I can see option 3 happening. And again, I've said this in multiple episodes, and characters have to die. I think even when we were texting while we were reading last night, it was like, yeah, we've got way too many characters. Like, someone's got to go. And I'm going to be very sad no matter who it is. Differing levels of sadness, of course, depending on who it is. But I think that if we're going to try to get Aelin and Dorian out of this, the only thing that I'm wondering is if they can somehow like join forces like they did at the end of Queen of Shadows and somehow be like, so the amulet needs a whole like heir's worth of blood and magic. How about we both go halvesies? Like, I'm wondering if it's something like that.
That's a good one too. Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking, like, okay, then that gets them both out, but then they probably both, like, won't live a full immortal lifespan. Because I'm thinking we're probably going to get Dorian to the point where he's not going to have a totally mortal life. And then maybe they just both, like, don't have as much magic, so they're not, like, especially Aelin, because they kept mentioning, like, she could take over the whole world if she wanted to. So we've got to, like, quell that a little bit.
Yeah, something is definitely gonna come in and like make her either lose her magic or like bring down her magic a bit because they definitely made a lot of little comments about how she's too powerful. So like by the end of this book, she's gonna be less powerful.
Or dead, but hopefully just less powerful.
I don't know. I could see her being an immortal, like taking away her immortality, taking away her magic, and then her just like going back to kind of how she started at the beginning of Throne of Glass, just like with her like assassin powers and brains.
Yeah. Or it's like she somehow settles at the same time and like makes like, you know, basically like feeds her magic into it to like some sort of halfway point. But
can we talk about the fact? Can we talk about when they like use their magic and they're like getting ready to use their magic and they're like, oh yeah, I keep dropping into my power and like.
No, Elena, we can't talk about that. We're talking about Throne of Glass in this episode.
That happened. That happened in this book.
Yeah,
do some editing.
It did, but I know what you want to discuss, and we can't discuss other book series, so no, we can't. But it's a really cool visual.
Happen, Elena. Every single time. This is more work for Brooke to do.
No,
I'm not editing. I'm not editing anything yet, Elena. But yes, I do like how they dive into their powers and bring it back up, and that makes them super powerful. I think that's cool.
Weird how. Wait.
Don't say anything I have to delete.
I don't think you will. So, you know how, like, they drop into their powers? Do you think when they drop deep enough, there's a way to then, like, let go of their magic, letting out a lot of that power into, say, some kind of system, and then creating the lock, and then they lose that power forever? Just hypothetically.
It's a cool idea. I don't know where you got it. I hope it's 100% creative, and maybe it could work.
And then they could create the lock, and she would lose a little bit of her power, and it would circumvent the dying thing.
I feel like we haven't seen an instance of being able to take one's power and put it into something. And that's not to say that we can't make significant progress in this series to potentially make that work. But what else can we talk about that Elena won't ruin other book series for our wonderful viewers?
We can talk about
other book series.
We can talk about how fast and crash and burn Elide and Lorcan's relationship was.
Elena, as their champion cheerleader, would you like to take Elide and Lorcan for us?
I'm so sad. Their relationship was my favorite. He like was willing to die for her. Like he was so protective over her. And he was just a big dumb idiot that messed everything up. Like normal. Yeah, like a normal Lorcan style.
Yeah, do we all agree biggest, dumbest idiot? Okay, good. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page.
Yeah, he can be the biggest, dumbest idiot. I don't remember where he was on that scale last episode.
I think he got biggest, dumbest idiot last episode too, but like fully.
I think he did too.
Yeah. The dumbest.
The dumbest. But I also kind of feel bad for him. I don't know if it's like, yes, he led Maeve right to them like a big dumb idiot. Was that the smartest move? No. Was it a little overreactionary? Yes. But he was doing it to try and save a lead. Like, he wasn't doing it to try and lead Maeve there to murder Aelin. He was doing it to try and save a lead. What, Jamie?
Yeah.
Why was he crawling towards her though? After the
Oh my God,
blood
that
was
Biggest dumbest
severed.
idiot.
That
That pissed me off.
I think that we all realize that like Lorcan and also Gabrielle, like for whatever reason, love Maeve. Like they have a connection to her. And I understand that like that can't be overridden by like, Gabrielle is definitely now on Aelin's side, like wants to fight for her, and I think he'll be okay in the end. But obviously, like it was hard for him to be like dishonorably discharged from Maeve's blood oath. And Lorcan, I think the same thing. Like he spent most of his very long existence like serving her and wanting to be her favorite. And now
He's so stupid. Like, why would you want that? Like, when he's like, yeah, I wanted to hook up with Maeve. I tried to get her to hook up. Like, why? Bro, why? Like, for what reason?
And a lead, I feel like, helped him realize the difference of like how you love someone and being in love. And he didn't have that with Maeve, so it just like it really irked me that he was like crawling towards her, and I didn't really understand like why it was such a big deal that he was hurting so bad because of the blood oath being severed. And it was like, why should he care about a title or being dishonored? Like that shouldn't matter. And I think that's why I was just so mad.
I had the same reaction, especially after that entire scene where she's threatening a lead. Like, she's clearly like one step away from murdering a lead, and for him to like then still crawl after her after like being so clearly angry, like it makes it feel like he wasn't that upset about how she treated a lead, which is so stupid.
Yeah. But you know who was so pissed at her? Fenris. He was so angry.
Fenris has gained a lot of traction with me, for sure. I just want to, before we move to Fenris, I just want to defend Lorcan one more time. And even hearing those words come out of my own mouth makes me a little ill. But I think we have to remember that like Lorcan's relationship with Maeve is very different than like Lorcan's relationship with Elide. Like I think he's realized that like he loves Elide, but I think that like his relationship with Maeve is very different. It's like that like parent figure or like that mentor that he's always wanted to impress and like, be like the number one with. And all of a sudden this goal that he's had his whole life, very, very long life, has now just been shattered. And I understand how that could be hard for him. Even like knowing that she was going to hurt Elide and wanting to protect Elide, he's still like having trouble letting go of that part of him.
I guess I can understand that.
I don't know. He's stupid.
So wait,
he is stupid though.
Alina, do you hate him now? Like, don't want him with Elide anymore?
No, I just want him to like grovel for like at least half the next book to like.
You should definitely grovel.
Yeah,
like cut up more of his shirts.
There are other attractive men that have suddenly come on the scene that Elide could definitely end up with.
Who are we picturing her with?
Maybe like a prince.
Yeah,
or like another Ash River prince,
like
or
a king of
like assassin. Yeah.
King of the assassins. Yeah,
you're
I'm just
right.
saying. Elide has other options.
Or a witch.
That's true.
Ooh, I could be for Aster and no, because they're like her sisters. I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like the witches are kind of gonna be like sister figures.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I just want Lorcan to grovel.
Yeah, I still think that they end up together because I know Jamie doesn't like the M word, but I think it's kind of obvious that they're already the M word based off of other things that have happened. So
Can we discuss
Has there
Jamie actively?
has there been a scent profile? Has there been what other
Yes.
clues that you think with Lorcan and
Wait, sorry.
Elise?
Do you want me to break this down? Do you want me
Yes.
to break this down?
Let's break this down.
There was a scent profile in their very first scene together. So yes, we got check. We got mate scent profile. Lorcan is irrationally violent when anyone even looks at Elide
Wait,
sideways.
pause. He's just irrationally violent as a character, not just when anyone looks at a lead.
Different.
Oh, maybe that it changed as soon as she claimed him as his husband.
Yeah.
Am I saying that right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
She claimed him first.
I think that there have just been a lot of obvious like moments where they have acted irrationally around each other, and it's been very clear that like they are connected, even to the point where like Maeve told Lorcan, like, you know, she told him you can't move, you can't speak, you can't do anything, and like I think it's Aelin that notices that like he's shaking, like he is so close to being able to like throw off her what I forget what they call it, not a summons, but like her telling him what to do that he has to listen to. And even just the fact that like his love for Elide can almost pull him out of that is, I think, a huge sign. So I think it's gonna happen. But
yeah, they're definitely mates. I 100% agree. I just want a lead to like hook up with a different guy and make him super jealous and for him to
King of
grovel.
Gwendolyn or like
yeah, exactly, like
King of the Assassins.
Him to have to like see her with someone else, like possibly flirting, and then
Ooh, maybe it could be Fenris because they're all going to be together to try and find Aelin. And
Fenris does need someone to distract him from Aelin. And we've gotten back to Fenris now. And I will say that Fenris has gained a lot of traction with me, and I'm not worried anymore that there's a possible like bait and switch again, that like Sarah's gonna try to make Aelin and Fenris be together.
Second to last book.
Right, yeah, no. So I'm not worried at all anymore, but it was interesting that Maeve like mentioned that Fenris has been in love with her this whole time. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, like we knew it, but ouch, I'm sorry, buddy.
Oh, you're not concerned about the bait and switch now that they're married and confirmed mates? Which, can we just discuss the fact that Jamie lied to us for like longer than 4 episodes? Probably like 4
So many.
I didn't lie. I didn't blatantly lie. I just stated facts that Rowan has a mate. You can only have one mate.
He had 2 mates.
No,
Lyria does not count. Thank you, Brooke. Thank you, Brooke.
That's what we learned, and that's what I thought was really cool. No, yes, we did. We just learned it.
I thought when I was saying that, like, she made them mates. Like, she, like, tweaked some stuff so that they were mates.
I feel like there's a difference between making someone mates, like the way Maeve manipulated that, versus natural mates, like how you guys are theorizing with Lorcan and the lead. Rowan and Aelin are natural mates because Maeve said that she saw in the future that they were mates. And so in order to get her whole plan into place, she put Rowan's mate as someone else so that she can break him, get him on board to be her blood oath thing, and that's how all this happened.
I wanted her to die so bad before this whole part, and then we learned all this, and I was like, I am going to enjoy watching you die.
Okay, well, what were you guys feeling when it was revealed that they are in fact mates? I feel like it didn't deter you guys because you guys were so set on that they were mates. Like, yeah. Did that hinder you at all, or is it where it's like, of course they are?
My immediate reaction was confusion because it was like this big reveal, and I was like, what? Like, we've known this forever. So I had to take a minute and be like, oh, okay, they think that some readers don't realize this at this point. This is this is interesting to me. And then I realized
Yeah.
we've got knowledge about other book series we can't talk about. So maybe in a world in which we had read Throne of Glass first out of all the SJM universes, like maybe we wouldn't have thought it, but it's like, nah, I read that scene on the beach twice. It was pretty obvious.
Well, but you're also very like perspective. So I feel like you could catch on to those type of things. I feel like if someone was reading fantasy for the first time, doesn't know the concept of mates, would not have picked
True.
it up. Like me when I read certain books.
Yeah. And right. And that's why I can see a world in which maybe we would have been like, oh my God, they're mates. Like, how amazing. But I was just like, yeah, no shit. But the really cool part was learning that he and Lyria were not mates. Because I know we've talked about this, and Jamie, you've tried to like lead us astray, which you have to do, by saying that, we don't have any real tangible example of someone having a mate and then having a second mate, which is true. So I think that this sort of made me go like, okay, this is how it worked, because he and Lyria were never actually mates, which is sad, like, for them, but I'm okay with it.
But
Okay.
it's even like worse because like Maeve like orchestrated this whole thing when it wasn't like, and so unnecessary. Like Lyria didn't even have to die. Like,
Yeah, she killed her too.
no. So I just want to say I'm sorry for steering you guys wrong, but I'm not sorry for keeping this like big reveal from you. So you can
It was
still
good.
enjoy it a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah. Elena, were you surprised?
That they were mates?
Yeah.
I was more surprised by their secret wedding. Like, I didn't see their secret wedding having come, but I was on the same page where, like, I knew she asked Rowan to do something for her, and I hadn't figured out what that was.
Brooke
But
did.
then, yeah, she did. Brooke, like, literally, you were in the group chat and you were like, it's marriage. They're gonna get secret married. And then Jamie and I texted each other being like, oh my God, how is she so on point? How does she know these things?
Yeah.
Well, again, not that we can really talk about other book series, but I will say that it's not like this is the first time this has happened in my life, in my reading adventure. But for me, it was when she went to him and was like, I need you to do something for me. And then like the next scene was like, nothing's really happened. Like, I don't really see Rowan doing anything super important. And I was like, those bitches got married behind closed doors, didn't they? So I couldn't go to the wedding. How rude.
Brooke, what do you get more mad about? Behind the scenes weddings or behind the scenes deaths? Good question.
I knew exactly what you were going to ask. I think I'm more upset about the off-screen deaths, honestly, because like, okay, I will say that when I finally finished this book and Ilias shows up with the assassins, it seems fairly likely that Sam is probably dead. And my thing is that I would rather have the deaths be on screen and like very clear so that I can actually mourn the people rather than read another 7 books thinking that they might show up again. The weddings I can imagine in my brain and like make it up for myself. But the deaths is just like, are they dead? Are they not dead? Can I cry now? Should I not cry? I don't know. R.I.P. Sam. R.I.P.
This is why I looked it up, so that I could just be sad.
You're so bad.
Still, to be honest, if Sam is actually dead, which I will say that I'm fairly certain he is, also, we've had a lot of characters come out of random closets to help Aelin. So I'm just saying that if one more showed up in the last book that none of us have read, I wouldn't be super surprised. So there is like 5% of me that is still wondering. And when it comes down to it, I'm wondering it because I'm so sorry, Sarah, but I feel like the writing of Sam's death was just bad. Like, I didn't like it. And that's why I've been thinking this whole time that he was alive, because I was like, if he really died, she would have written the scene better. And if he's dead, I'm just bummed.
Oh my God, that scene is gonna be tragic if Aelin does like give herself up to like for the lock and like goes and like has a mini afterlife scene like in Harry Potter.
I
And
was
meet
going to say like
Sam
a Harry Potter train scene. Yep.
and meet Sam, and Sam's like, "You are Aelin, and you are not afraid."
Oh. And then all of us started crying the end. And then he sends her back. That'd be great.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
Packs her up on the Aderlanian Hogwarts Express and tells her to go back and finish out her life. That'd be cute.
Yeah, her mortal life at that point.
Question for the group. If Sam comes back in an afterlife way, am I still right? Or am I
No,
wrong? I'm
no,
wrong.
because you were saying he wasn't dead.
Okay, that's fair. I just want to know if and when it happens, if I get to immediately text gloat, or if then I know that I was wrong.
Well, immediate text gloating implies that Jamie and I have already read it, and you're the last one reading it. Otherwise, no matter what, you wouldn't be.
Is there any other way that we read books? Is there any other option at this point other than me reading it last?
I read last this time, even though I already read it.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
My refresh read.
But yeah, it's yeah, I think off-screen deaths are my least favorite.
But you're also an experienced reader. I didn't find anything wrong with Sam's death. I didn't question that it wasn't his body, and like I knew it was him. I feel like Selena at the time, like she would know that it was him. She wouldn't have spent so long mourning him laying next to his body if she didn't didn't know that it was him. Wasn't him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think part of my doubt in her is knowing that he was not truly like her mate, her person, like her partner, like, and just wondering if there was a part of her that maybe wouldn't have known, or like
He
in her
was.
grief.
He was. He was Selena's person. Like, I think we've discussed this. He was Selena's person.
Yeah, he
Rowan
was
is Aelin's
Selena's.
person.
Yeah.
Yes, he was a fake personas person.
Really, it's still part of her life, because at the time she was kind of like pushing aside her fae persona, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I just still wondered if like the grief plus the fact that like they clearly were not meant to be together was what might have brought the confusion and the wrong judgment call. But
We can still
Okay.
appreciate Sam.
yeah, I will say that if anybody dies in this next book, it had better be like super grief worthy. Like I better see every second of it and know for sure that they're dead so I can cry a lot.
So, do we have theories on who's gonna die? Because I'm still not. I still think there's a chance Dorian dies, and then also Gabriel's still gonna like somehow make it like they're gonna retrieve Aelin because he has to die saving Adian. Like Adian and him aren't together right now, but there's no way my guy makes it through at the end of the next book.
Yeah, I mean, I've got some theories about who doesn't make it out of this, but I'm not happy. I mean, my new person that I'm very, very worried about is Abraxas, honestly. And I don't know why it hadn't occurred to me before that like he's the dog in the dog movie. And I'm like, wait, we don't kill the dog, right? But wait, we always kill the dog. And I'm just like trying to think of like people that might sacrifice themselves for people that they love. And like that to me would be one of the most heart-wrenching losses, is if Manon survived because he sacrificed himself for her. And I'm just like, God, please no.
I could see that. I also don't see a world where all of the 13 make it through.
There are so many of them that like we kind of know but don't really know, so I can see like a few of them going, and I can see Esterin going too. But yeah, yeah, no, go ahead.
Or Stan makes it through and we just have a lot of new boys for her to fall in love with again. Like I could see her becoming queen of Wendlin, and or What if her and Ansel get together and then they're queens of the waste together?
Ooh, I could get
That'd be
behind that.
cool.
That would be really cool.
Hmm.
Yeah. Since like Aylin's idea was to have Ansel own like half of the waste and then the Crochan witches to own the other half of the waste, that'd be cool. That's actually my favorite because I was trying to picture her with Galen, and I don't think she could ever be like a queen like that. And I was trying to picture her in the Red Desert with Ilias. I don't know about that either, but I
No.
could totally picture her with Ansel. They'd be a good pair.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I like that. So Astarion can't die now, otherwise I'll be devastated.
Oh gosh, she's been through so much. I feel like, and like, she almost died already. Like, I don't want her to go through that again.
Well, and the other person who probably is going to die is whatever his name is from. Oh wait, I'm not allowed to talk about him. Never mind, we're not talking about their
It's okay, I don't have to delete it. You didn't say anything.
I didn't say. You know who I was talking about, though.
I think so.
I know we can talk about that later. But yeah, the only other two people that I am genuinely worried for are Adian, and now I am worried for Fenris. Because my personal opinion is that there is no person for him. His person is Aelin, and the only way that I see that playing out is him potentially sacrificing himself to figure out how to get her out of this situation, because he's like the only person who's there with her.
Yeah.
But I also like I care about him, but I don't see being like really, really upset about him dying at this point. So I still feel like more like key players have to perish.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to die.
No.
But I'm sure someone will.
I don't know. I could just see it being Dorian. Like, Dorian just seems so detached from everything still. I don't know, like, how he would come back and, like, rule as king and be happy.
Wait, so now that you're gonna try to like feed my favorite side couple to the fire, I'm just gonna say that I think Lorcan's gonna die. I think it's Lorcan. I think Lorcan dies.
No, because they're mates. They need to, like, realize they're mates. Unless
So
they
are
realize
Dorian and Manon! In
Dorian-
their very dysfunctional way.
they're so dysfunctional. I love it.
Oh,
Can we talk about their scenes together?
Oh, yes, we can.
The ghost hands.
I was rereading it and I'm like, the girls, they haven't talked about that scene yet. Did I miss it? I feel like they would have talked about it. And then it happened. I was like,
60.
oh yeah.
Also, I was just waiting for here, but yeah. Just like I said in the last episode, I love these guys, and specifically I love them because they are so different from any other couple we've seen in this whole series or like anywhere. Like most of our couples are like, I'm either going to hate you and then I'm going to love you, or it's just going to be a nice slow journey until we're like, we're in love. And these guys are like, nah, let's just do it and like pretend we don't have feelings, but we definitely do. And I'm like, I love this.
It was hot.
So hot.
Yeah. And I feel like they're just so dysfunctional. Like,
Yes.
that's such a good word for it, because Dorian's like, I can't love anyone, like, because mortals are too breakable. And Manon's like, I can't let anyone control me except apparently this guy. Like,
that was the best part, though, is like you can tell even in the moment, like it's not a random hookup. Like you can see how it's like, yeah, Dorian's trying to, not get attached because of what's happened in his past. And Manon is trying to like keep the upper hand as much as she can. But like they both admit that like, or I guess Dorian doesn't really, but Manon definitely admits that she's like, crap, like I have never like allowed this. I have never like acted like this with any other guy. And I just love the like last little remark where she's like, yeah, if this happens again, it's gonna be on my terms. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. Look at you. Look at you trying to pretend like you don't love him.
They're so cute.
So cute.
We love
Oh my
that.
god. It was so sad. Like I was genuinely confused for a hot second when Maeve was dragging Aelin away and Manon was just like, take her. I was like, I understand like maybe not wanting Maeve to realize you're friends, but I don't really understand why you don't need Maeve to realize you're friends. Like I didn't think for a sec like
Me neither.
think through that she gave her the word keys.
Nope. I didn't get that either. I kept being very confused. I was like, Manon, why are you doing nothing? Like, I know you don't hate her anymore. Like, what is this? And then the minute that Manon's like walking away with a lead and she's like, I got the word keys, I was like, oh my God. Ah!
Maeve's gonna be pissed.
So pissed. I'm really surprised though that wasn't one of the first things she did. And I mean, you know, they talk about how Aelin played it perfectly and like got her so riled up and upset that she just like kind of forgot about it. But it's like you allowed yourself to be so into torturing this woman and like, you know, subjecting her to you and like all of your people, and you totally forgot about the whole reason that you came here. Like,
Well, and I feel like it's such a weird difference because on one hand, Maeve has planned this out for millennia, for so long. She's like had this plan, and then she forgets like she makes dumb mistakes like that where she like doesn't check that the word keys are there. Just lets Gabrielle and Lorcan go instead of killing them, even though like Lorcan is not debatably one of the strongest Fae on the planet, and they keep bringing that up, and now he's free to work against her.
I think it's her hubris, honestly. Like, it's just that she doesn't believe that anyone has the capability of beating her, except she definitely knows that Aelin at full power can, which is why she orchestrates this whole plan to drain her of her power before she takes her. So, yeah, I mean, I think that she fully believes that like Lorcan and Gabrielle cannot stand against her, and that without her, they're nothing, and that like releasing them is going to make them fall into pits of despair and not be functional. And it's like, psych, they're going to come out stronger than this and they're going to beat you. And I can't wait for it.
Oh my god. I don't know. She's just dumb. I'm
Yeah.
waiting for her to die. Her and Grandma Blackbeak. There's a lot of good deaths coming. Well, actually, she's not going to die though, is she? Do we think she's gonna? I don't know if she's gonna die or if they're just gonna shove her back. Oh wait, I can't.
We can't talk. That's going to be after this as well. Before we start talking about things that we can't talk about with people that haven't read other books called Tower of Dawn, I wanted to mention other couples because I realized that we didn't really talk about Adian and Lysandra all that much in the last episode. And they're probably like my second favorite side couple. We can fight about that later, but I love them. I love their dynamic in, you know, how Adian clearly has said that he loves her and wants to be with her and is allowing her the time and space to decide if that's what she wants as well. I think that's also why the end was really hard for me. It was just like him screaming at her and like calling her a lying bitch. I was just like, I don't disagree with you, but also this is really painful to watch. And just seeing them sort of like fall apart. And I believe that they're going to get back together. It was hard.
He doesn't deserve to get back together with her after that comment. Like that comment was so out of pocket. Like I understand being mad, but like there's no reason to stoop to that level.
He does.
I think that's
say
why
things
I
that
asked
he
you
regrets.
guys that question. I'm like, what's the deal with Adian? Like, why do you guys like him? Especially with Lysandra, because she's so cool and awesome. Remind me again.
I think that the reason that I side with Adian and I don't judge him for what he said is because I know that it comes from how much he loves her. And I know that what he said in that moment is how upset he is that she was so willing to give up their future together. I know that's like a lot of what is coming from him emotionally, and like I feel bad.
Their future together with like him and Lysandra,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, because I think that in that moment when he realized the plan that Lysandra and Aelin had agreed to, it was Lysandra being okay with throwing away their ability to truly be together because he would just be like a random side piece in the shadows while they could never
Hmm.
really be together. So I understand that in that moment he was dealing with that and also like the idea that Aelin may never come back. So I get that he was really sad and had a right to be. He's definitely going to regret what he said, just like he already regrets what he said out of anger to Aelin earlier about, not doing what she should be doing to get the allies and flaunting her magic and putting them into danger. And that's Adian, right? Like he says things that he regrets later, but aren't totally false in the moment if you really think about it.
I mean, is that why Aelin doesn't like loop him in on the plans? Part of the reason why.
Yeah. He's such a hothead. Oh my gosh. In the
Okay,
next book,
that's why. I'm just like, I don't get it. What's so good about Adian? I don't like hate him or anything. I just think that Lysandra deserves better.
mhm. In the next book,
That's
Adian
all.
and Lorcan can work together to come up with a massive apology, like a massive group apology for Elite, and like
Just put a big card together, like out of poster board.
Yeah.
they'll
We're
get all their
sorry.
friends to like
It's
write
just
a letter on their like chest that says "I'm sorry," like just all the boys, like a promposal, but an apology.
But like,
I just
please don't be mad at me forever.
yeah. I just feel like he took it really hard and was just so harsh to Lysandra.
hmm
And I get what you're saying, Brooke, but I feel like his love for Aelin kind of trumps his love for Lysandra. I feel like he wouldn't be as mad. It's more of like that they kept this from him and then kept it from him, even knowing that like he's involved with like the siring that could happen later on. Um,
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I do think that he probably does care about Aelin more than Lysandra. Which honestly at this point, like I don't think is I don't know if wrong is the right word. Like I understand because I mean, like Aelin's been a part of his life for forever, like, a good friend and like also his queen. So I get it,
he
but
he was mad about the blood oath thing too. Like,
yeah, he's not perfect. No, none
no,
of them
he's not.
are, which makes them better characters because they're so dynamic. And I think that Adian is going to have a lot to atone for and grow, and hopefully that is what Lysandra is waiting for, even subconsciously, is for like him to prove that he can actually be the man that she needs. But we got to get her out
He's
of having to pretend
certainly
to be Aelin.
complex.
Yes.
Can someone explain? I don't. This is totally off topic, but can someone please explain all the history nonsense to me? Like Elena just messing up, and like she should have known that the lock was to send them back, but then she didn't, and then I don't. There was just a lot of history that kind of like.
It
It
confuses me a
went,
little bit
yeah.
as well. But it seems like Brannon had created the lock in order to like send the gods and Erewhon back to wherever the gods came from. And then somehow didn't communicate that to Elena. And Elena used the lock to put Erewhon in the sarcophagus and then, kind of realized from Brannon that she messed everything up and they were going to have to basically do it over.
Yeah, and then she and Brandon never really ever talked again because he was mad that she was with a mortal, and then mortal guy knew that she lied about messing up, but like they never talked about it, and then
Yeah.
now Aelin has to kill herself because of Elena.
Yeah, you got it. That's it. That's all of it. Yeah.
Okay,
But
just
I mean,
one.
like, I still think that Elena is being too hard on herself, honestly. Because I
Mhm.
mean, we see that scene where she's so sorry about what she did and how it's like her fault that now Aelin has to do this. But to be honest, it's like we see that first scene at the beginning of this book where Elena and Gavin have no idea how to save their people in the world against the Valg. And it's like they did what they thought they had to do with the knowledge that they had. So I still stand by like she made the best decision given all of her resources. And it's not fair that it's being put on her. Like it should be put on Brandon, if anybody. Like, dude,
Or
you should like
the gods. Like,
well, I
why is
mean,
it?
yeah, when it comes down to it, I think we just need to kick some god ass and be like, y'all need to come back from whence you came, take everyone with you. Also, here's Maeve.
And Grandma Blackbeak.
Yeah, take
Oh.
everyone.
And then Racinda is Manon's half sister, or her mom, or the queen, like some distant ancestor.
Rhiannon,
Yeah.
Rhiannon.
she's her like distant relative, like great great grandmother or something.
Who was also somehow involved in the making of the mirror and
Yes.
Slashlock.
So that is the part that I don't understand entirely, like why the Crochans got pulled into this and
why Manon goes into the mirror with Aelin.
So I'm wondering if more is coming from that or like Jamie, I don't know if you have better clarity on why they had to have a team up.
I just like the idea of two queens working together.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. It was great, but I don't know entirely why Elena had to work with Rhiannon. And maybe it's just as simple as like she needed to store her memories somewhere and knew that like the witch mirrors might work, and maybe it was that like they had to join together. But I'm guessing there's going to be something more in the next book in Kingdom of Ash that we'll find out that like the Fae and the witches came from the same place, which we kind of know that they did because the witches are like Fae plus Valg. So there's got to be something about like, you know, you came from the same place, you needed to like link up in order to beat the bad guy, is my guess.
I don't know. It just seemed really random to me that Manon went through the mirror too, but then like didn't really play a part in watching the memories.
But the mirror wouldn't have worked without her, from what Deanna
So
was
she had
saying.
to be there. But why?
Flame and iron, right?
Yeah. Yeah, flame and iron. So I don't know. I mean, the mirror was definitely made by Rhiannon, so maybe it was like I'll do this for you, but it's only gonna work if like your person plays nice with my person and come to like create peace together, which I
If
think
my
is where we're going.
descendant and your descendant walk through the mirror, then if
Yeah. I also thought it was unfair that everyone was mad at Dorian for like pointing that out and being like, y'all should go through the mirror.
Punches him for no reason. And he's like, how dare you?
Damn it, Sadie.
Control your
Adrian
temper.
is really bad at controlling his temper.
I felt really bad for Dorian though. Like, if that was like honestly, they were just trying to find a solution.
Right.
And they were like, let's do it.
I don't even understand why Rowan was mad, because Rowan, like, literally 2 hours before that had been trying to convince Aelin to flee, and then Aelin does get away from the battle, and he's like, how could you do this, Dorian?
I think it was more like my wife went into a scary mirror and I don't know if she's dead or alive, and if she's alive, I have no idea where she is. I think it was more that. I think it was like the like mate like bond inside of him was just like, oh, I can't protect her and I have no idea where she is and now I'm panicking. But yeah, Adian.
He's better at controlling his temper, because even he said he wanted to punch Dorian but didn't.
Yes. Well, I don't think anyone's going to argue that Rowan is not better than Adian.
No, I don't think. Can we talk about the fact that he keeps like referring to himself as her like companion? I forget what word he uses instead. Like everyone else is calling courtesan.
Consort.
So, like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
it's
you know,
like that mindset, yeah.
He keeps thinking of himself more as like her like side lover rather than like a key player. And it's like, dude, you are so powerful. Like you just won that whole battle by going and convincing your cousins to like turn against Maeve. That was all you, dude. And I loved that he was able to do that and bring her an army, even though like marriage to him wouldn't have done it in the way that he wanted. And
his cousin's helping was such a cute moment. Like that they've been waiting like this entire time for him to just realize who he was again. Like the person he was before may have completely screwed over his life.
I love Rowan.
We
When
love.
he was all sad at the end and
Where's my wife? Oh. They're gonna get her out. There's no way they don't get her out of that stupid. She's not gonna die.
Do you promise?
I don't think she'll like die.
All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we switch to Tower of Dawn? And if anyone hasn't read it, they need to probably bounce.
I can't think of anything specific. I think we kind of got everybody for the most part. I mean, there's just so much. There's so much we could talk about, and that's why
Yeah.
everybody just come join us on Discord. Come chat about all the things that we couldn't talk about. Someone make me feel better about Aelin not dying, except like, you know, if you've read Kingdom of Ash, keep your thoughts to yourself. Yeah. It was good. I was trying to think to myself, like, was this ending more painful than Heir of Fire? And I think it was for me. I think this one was worse.
Oh yeah.
Nothing will ever be as bad as the Assassin's Blade.
Well, in this one we have like determined mates, so and people who profess their love, and
Yeah, it's just
yeah,
like
that's what hurt.
everybody's angry at each other, and there's so many lives in the balance, and I'm just like, oh boy, this was rough. But yeah, I'm good to talk about Tower of Dawn.
Tower of Dawn.
Yeah, so get out of here if you weren't crazy like us and you didn't start with Tower of Dawn. Yeah.
All right, Tower of Dawn.
So now they have a complete army because Kale's on his way with all the southern forces.
What?
Sorry, just every time you call him Kale, I can't.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I talked about it when we read Tower of Dawn, but I accidentally read the first sentence of the epilogue after that, which is essentially just Aelin being trapped in iron. And I was like, well, damn. So I think the ending of this book didn't affect me as much because I read that she was in iron. So like my mind immediately went to the worst, that like everyone had been captured, like there had been death. But versus like this book ends and really it's just she's taken away. And like everyone else is still there and like planning on getting her back. So I think having read that made this ending easier because I was prepared for it to be way worse.
Yeah, I did not accidentally read part of the epilogue. But I will say one of the things we kept talking about while we were reading Tower of Dawn is like, all right, we keep hearing about what's going on in Adarlan, or like not whatever the continent.
The northern continent.
The northern continent. We keep hearing about it. So we had sort of like we'd heard about what happened in Ilium, and we'd heard about what happened in Skulls Bay. And then like the final thing that we hear from Hosar is that Maeve and Aelin fought in the south, or in the southern part of the northern continent.
The marshes,
in the Eoway area.
Yeah.
And that Aelin won. And I just remember thinking, like, that is very not descriptive. And I think I said to you guys, I don't know if we ever talked about it a lot in the episodes or if it was just outside of it, but like that it just seemed like there was more to the story. And I didn't know entirely what happened, but one of the things that I wondered was like, did someone die? Like I was worried about, like, did Rowan die? But one of the things that I was worried about was like, does Maeve, like, does Aelin win the fight? But like, then do any of them get kidnapped or taken? And I would just like had that thought in the back of my mind. Like it just seemed too easy. And it was.
Yeah. They had, yeah, so like the southern continent or the Coggins had spies in the northern continent, but it wasn't very specific details, like the characters, the relationships, things like that. So yeah, we don't know. Like, yeah, it was just very vague, and it kind of left the reader to kind of just either take it with a grain of salt or like, you know,
But it also makes sense because that's the story they're going to be telling all of their allies right now, is that they came out of that undisputed winners, because Lysandra's going to keep pretending to be Aelin. So the only people that
right.
know that Maeve took Aelin are their group. And maybe they'll
Hmm.
tell Kale. They'll probably tell Kale.
Yeah, it's very clear now that that's exactly what happened. Like
Mhm.
everyone believes that Maeve's forces were beaten and that, you know, by Aelin's forces, and it's as simple as that because it doesn't seem like anything else happened, but a lot has happened. It just felt to
A
me
lot
like
has
there was
happened.
yeah, I knew that like if Aelin and Maeve battled and Aelin won, that there was no way Maeve was dead because I was like, there's no way we don't like we get a whole final book without Maeve. Like there can't be.
Yeah.
Gotta be more to
I don't
this.
know. I was disappointed by the epilogue. I thought there was going to be more to it. It's just them taking her out of her cage.
Um,
Sorry.
I read the Fireheart title. I saw
Mhm.
that. That was the only part of the epilogue that I read. So this whole time I've been thinking that it was something that Rowan wrote to Aelin because it's his
Mm.
nickname for her, which was also a reason why I thought that maybe the two of them had been separated or that like he had died and had written something for her to read like after his death. And it wasn't that at all. So I was like, all right, well, I was totally off base.
It's a good guess, though.
Okay, does that
Marie,
mean we can talk about the fact that Maeve is valid now? Like, we've
yes.
not been talking about that. And the fact that the reason that she wants the keys is to prevent herself from being thrown back into the world with the kings, which is why I don't think she's going to die. They're just going to send her through the lock, which would be worse for her than dying, I feel like.
Yeah, we'll see. I think that there's got to be some sort of comeuppance, whether it's that or she dies. But yeah, I was surprised that we didn't learn that she's Valg in this book. So that was a big reveal in Tower of Dawn that obviously that information is going to be shared with a larger group. And hopefully that will help them figure out how to circumvent this lock thing. Because maybe we don't need it. Maybe we can just send them back from whence they came.
Using a harp.
What? All right, we've got to go.
Yeah.
Jamie's got some stuff to do.
Yeah.
But thank you guys. This was great. And we're gonna go straight to Kingdom of Ash.
We're
So
reading it all at once.
yeah, if you didn't
Yeah.
read Tower of
The
Dawn,
first
read
time.
it. Yeah, go check out our Tower of Dawn episodes before you meet us at Kingdom of Ash. Otherwise, if you went along with us, we'll get started.
For some crazy reason.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm excited. So many emotions. But yeah, thanks for
Okay.
joining us,
Yeah.
everybody.
Thanks.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.